Welcome back to Best in the Game podcast. I'm your host, Mike Jones, aka Jersey Mike. First and foremost, I want to shout out everybody who is supporting the channel, watching this video right now. Thank you so very much. Super excited for all the content to come this fall during this football season. But today on today's show, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get back to our roots. This podcast originally started off as a sports podcast. We've since then branched off and ventured into many different spaces, music, movies, things of that sort. But there's one very specific reason why we're getting back to sports today, and that's because college football is back, ladies and gentlemen. College football is back. It'll be starting tomorrow, which is Saturday, August 24th. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Really excited for the college football season. Really excited to see what these teams can do. We now have the brand new CFP format. Instead of 4 teams, it's now going to be 12. A lot of changes have happened in college football over the past year. Basically, there is no more Pac-12, so on and so forth. So it's a lot of different stories out there, a lot of different storylines going into the season. But today, we're going to talk about one specific storyline that very much caught my eye. Before we get into that, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Very, very much greatly appreciate that. Like I said, anything they could do will be fantastic. Links are in the description below. But there's one very specific reason I wanted to get into college football today. Um, Earlier this week, I was watching the Pat McAfee show. The great Pat McAfee, hailed at West Virginia, played in the NFL for several years. He's been an amazing, amazing host and just ambassador for the sports space, college football, NFL, so on and so forth. So shout out to him. He's been fantastic. I was watching his show, and on his show, he had the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, coach Mike Gundy, on there. Many of you may be very familiar with Coach Mike Gundy. Super viral rant he went on years ago, defending his players in front of a room full of journalists. And in the interview, what I really liked is he expressed how that scene, that sort of viral moment, that sort of viral clip has really helped to elevate the brand of Oklahoma State since. I mean, they've always sort of been like a middling team. They've had great, fantastic alumni come through there. Des Bryant comes to mind. Um, Barry Sanders comes to mind. So, storied program has have put players in the league, and Mike Gundy's been around for a long time. He's been around for a long time. He's seen so many of these changes happen with the program and college football overall, and he's here for it. He's here for it. He's here for the major changes that are happening. College football players becoming university employees. That appears to be all but just a sure thing that's going to happen. Um, Players getting paid, name, image, likeness, NIL deals all over the place. A lot of these universities have been very they've embraced the change. They've been preparing for the change. They've been having meetings and secret meetings and Zoom calls and all those type of things to try to make sure that they get themselves in the best position possible, because what they now know is when it comes to college football and these players, it is now basically pay for play. Okay? You guys are running a business. You guys have been running a business. The universities and the NCAA have been making millions and billions off the backs of players, college football and college basketball specifically, two of the biggest income earners. But now it is a new day in the NIL. It is a new day in the NIL. So he was on Pat McAfee's show sharing stories about coaching. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Like Pat McAfee asked him something regarding like, how is it now for Coach Gundy when he goes inside of these parents' homes and he's trying to recruit these kids and bring them on? What separates Oklahoma State from, say, Oklahoma or Notre Dame or Texas Tech or one of these other major schools that's trying to bring the kids in? So he revealed something new. So apparently, Oklahoma State, I believe they're the first to implement this. Oklahoma State will be placing player specific QR codes on their helmets. Oklahoma State players will have QR codes on their helmets. So the QR code, if you guys aren't familiar, if you watch any sort of TV nowadays, when you're in front of a TV, there's almost always a QR code that pops up. You pull out your phone, you use your camera to scan the code, and it's going to take you to a link. It's going to take you to another website, something to buy, something to purchase, something to review, something of the sort. The NIL collective of Oklahoma State has come up with this solution to help these players under the NIL deals sort of earn income as they're playing on the field. This is huge. This is huge. You are literally, in essence, have the ability to tip the players like live in game as they're playing. Players are literally earning money while on the field playing for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Me personally, as a former athlete, former college athlete, I'm still athletic in my mind. I still could do a couple things. I could, do a cartwheel or something like that. But I feel like this is fantastic. This is fantastic. I remember playing college ball, sitting in my dorm room, eating up on some noodles. Like you buy the whole pack of ramen noodles. Like they're like 50 cents a pack, so you just buy the whole box or something like that. These kids don't have to worry about that nowadays. These kids are on the field and literally can be earning money in real time with these QR codes that they've now added to the back of their helmets. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal and it's a game changer. And I very much expect many other colleges to follow suit. I expect many other major programs to follow suit. This is going to be a big selling point when those head coaches have to go out and recruit these kids, 18, 19, 20 years old. How are you going to separate yourself? Yeah, there's a big pot of money and we got to split it up, so on and so forth. And if you think about it, it's almost kind of like the NIL collective. The NIL collective is almost kind of going to look a bit like a salary cap. If you want to compare it to pro sports. And what happens is you have a salary cap, and typically what happens, let's just say you got the NFL. Typically, in let's say a $200 million salary cap, it's typically higher than that right now, but I'm just trying to use like nice round numbers. That quarterback is going to make the most money. So out of 200 million that the team has to spend on salaries for a year in the NFL, probably about 50 to 60 million is just going to go to the quarterback, right? All the rest of that, so 200 minus, let's say 60, that leaves you with 140 million. That's to be divided up among the other 53 team members. And in NIL, it's kind of sort of the same way. These collectives, they're getting a large chunk of money. Here's the thing though, right now, there is no salary cap. So technically, sky's the limit on these universities and their ability to earn money, put money in a collective, hand it out to students, so on and so forth. If I'm mistaken about that, somebody please double check that. You can put it down in the chat. I'd really appreciate it. But to my knowledge, these universities, there's no limit, there's no cap at how much they can earn in a NIL collective. Like most things, like most places, most of the money is going to go to the big earners. That might be your big play quarterback, big play receiver. You might have a fantastic defensive end guy coming off the edge, getting like 4 or 5 sacks a game, something like that. Those guys are going to make the most. So you got other people on the team who knows, they're probably way down the depth chart or way down the pay line when it comes to getting paid from the NIL collective. But hey, somebody goes down, knock on wood, second string running back gets put in the game. He's probably next to third on the last of the list of NIL collective, but that guy balls out and he goes crazy and he scores 6 touchdowns. So, one, not only is he getting a lot of this exposure because he's on national TV, a lot of the NFL teams, the NFL scouts are able to see this guy, but that QR code on the back of his helmet is going to be in high resolution display for people to tip and pay that man in real time for what he's doing on the field. I love it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Been scrolling on Twitter, trying to find the story, sharing the story with you guys today. Um, of course, there are people who don't quite agree with this sentiment. They still feel like the NIL is the wild, wild west of everything. And there still do need to be like some parameters put in check. For example, what I just said in regards to like a salary cap, like there's parity, or allegedly there's parity in the NFL, and the salary cap has a lot to do with that. But for these teams, for these colleges and universities who have very strong NIL collectives, very strong campaigning, things of that sort, um, have very strong alumni bases. Like I said, arguably the sky's the limit.
The players on their helmets are going to have QR codes on the back of their helmets this year. So if you scan a code, you can donate directly to their NIL fund. So, A, I don't feel great about this. And then two, how are you going to get close enough to a player to scan their code? I guess after the game, maybe you walk up, you scan that code, you throw some money their way. Why don't you just put their Venmo handles on the back of their jerseys now? Like at some point, this madness needs to end.
Yeah, I think the premise is that you can see it on TV and you can scan your TV, you can pause it. But like, who's going to actually be doing this? Like, this sounds like something that they sold to like a board of trustees that are like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Technology, QR codes. But Jenks, tipping has gotten out of control. Doesn't this feel like another form of tipping? Where you're supposed to tip a guy after, scoring a touchdown for your team, where he's going to come up and hold his phone and say, 15, 20, 25%.
Okay, so there's one small part in there that I agree with. That video comes from the Daily Tip MGM. There's one small part in that clip that I actually do agree with. In recent years, tipping has become quite ridiculous. There are just certain places that I go and that I shop that I don't, what does it mean to shop somewhere? There's places that I go that I shop where I don't expect to be asked to tip somebody. One of those places particularly is like a fast food restaurant. Like going to a fast food restaurant and having, everything's like electronic now. So most places, they're not even like printing you a paper receipt unless you really want it. If you're using a credit card, debit card, you're probably gonna have to like sign your signature with your finger or something like that. But everywhere you go now, I see that little tip button. That little tip button is quite annoying because me personally, kind of like agreeing with them, it's kind of showing up in places where I just feel like it doesn't belong. I don't want to tip the fast food people. I thought that we had a whole revolution about people making money, earning higher wages, companies, restaurants raising salaries. Like, did I miss that? Did something go wrong with that? I don't know. I have no idea. I've never worked fast food, but I don't want to tip fast food. Now, delivery, I understand tipping delivery. That makes sense. Been doing that all my life. Lived in the projects. Chinese dude used to bring stuff up to the 10th floor. Yeah, we're going to tip the delivery guy. Tipping doesn't belong everywhere. However, in college football, now where we're in a little bit of a spot where it's the wild, wild west, the ability to tip players in real time as they're performing on the field, this is going to revolutionize the game. This is going to change the game. It's really going to change the game in several ways. One of the ways is as you know, the gentleman in the video, he was kind of clowning a little bit, like putting their Venmo on the back of their jersey. I think what'll happen is, you know, like when you're watching a game and they show you the names of the players and highlight, you know, what year they're in, freshman, sophomore, junior, what their number is, what their position is. I think you might even see a QR code then at that time. You might see a QR code besides it being like on the back of their helmet and you can kind of scan it in real time because the it's definitely defined enough for the cameras to focus on. I think I think the QR code is going to be popping up all over the place on the TV, and I'm for it because this gives the players an absolute opportunity to go on the field, play their hearts out, worry free, and be able to take care of their families at the same time. Mind you, NCAA is nothing but the feeder system to the NFL. But as we know, as we've known for years, everybody doesn't make it. Everybody doesn't make it. And you know what? Sometimes some of these players, they are college legends. They are college legends. They get to the NFL and don't do much of anything or don't get to the NFL at all. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Vince Young was able to earn money while he was in college with a QR code? Could you imagine? Some of these players can then earn income, and some of them may not even want to go to the league. They might be fine with insufficient, proud of however much they made while in college. And that money might be able to help them pursue other avenues once they're done with college, once they're done with college football. They don't have to go fight for that rookie contract and put their bodies in harm's way and, you know, things of that sort. They're young, they're fresh, they're here, they're doing it now, and it's going to provide a great opportunity. I like it. I know that this isn't going to be popular with everyone. It's going to be a topic, uh, probably a headlining topic as the season goes on, and I'm not going to be surprised to see other teams do this. I'm very, very sure Oklahoma State will not be the last team to be putting QR codes on the back of players' helmets so that they can be tipped in real time. But what do I know? What are your thoughts? What do you think about this ability to tip players in real time with a QR code? Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this video. I'll check y'all out next time.